Hey up everybody, my name's Joshua Morrison, the director of Jonny Mozza's Lessons in Confidence, and today I'm very happy to be able to show you some of day one. I've just finished day one of filming last night. We went to the Cross Lances in Hounslow with John Henry Westhead and Oleg, and we had such a great time. I was really nervous at first because this is the first day of filming. This is where if something's going to go wrong, it's going to go wrong with day one. So, and I put quite a lot on my plate for day one. Despite me saying that I didn't want to, do too much on any one day, and I wanted filming to be a lot more relaxed and less like a professional film set in that sort of way. It did end up becoming quite intensive. I've actually downloaded it because I don't think I've got any Wi-Fi out here. So. Yeah, here we are. So this is a download of the YouTube video that I uploaded. So I edited it very quickly once I got back. Not all in one day, I've done some of it this morning. Let me pause that so I can actually tell you kind of what happened. So I went to John Henry's house at about, I want to say about 5:30. I got there about 5:30. And I was carrying quite a lot. I'm going to cut to the relevant footage of that. So. Yeah, you see that is a lot, right? The backpack and the guitar. Although I will say those two things kind of balanced themselves out. Problem is I was on the bus, right? And I was on the bus all on my own. And I wasn't able to get a seat. So I was kind of leaning against the, the pole where they used to keep newspapers and stuff. So I was kind of leaning against that. So I stuck on my headphones and I listened to all the Paranoid, I think it's the first Black Sabbath album. No, it's not, it's is it the second one? Masters of Reality came after Paranoid, I think. Anyway, I listened to Paranoid and I loved it. Really good album. It's not one that I've actually bothered to listen to all the way through. I just known the songs. And I thought I wasn't going to enjoy Iron Man that much because it's quite overplayed, and it got played in Iron Man 2 because it's Iron Man. I'm surprised they didn't play it in the first Iron Man. I'm surprised they had that restraint. But yeah, really great album. I think my favourite track was Electric Funeral. Either that or, Planet Caravan is a classic of mine. I love Planet Caravan. But at the same time, it's a bit of a diversion. Anyway. Got to John Henry's house and he'd immediately learned all his lines, and I hadn't really. I will admit I hadn't learned my lines in that kind of way. And he was talking about how he needed cues and certain things, and I was like, yeah, you are actually kind of right on that. You do. I need to cue you in on a certain line of dialogue. Like there's a part in the scene where I talk about Ed Sheeran and Katy Perry, and I need to say it's 4 chords because that leads him into what his point is, because he's responding to the 4 chord bit. So conversations were a little bit more artificial, and at first I was kind of worried that the direction of the film was going to become more sterile and the kind of things I didn't want, and the film was going to get away from me. And I was really worrying during the first couple sets of the Cross Lances open mic, and I was really panicking for when I had to go on, because that's when everything begins. That's when Jonny Mozza is born in my head, right? So I went on and I played 2 songs. I've uploaded my practice to YouTube, and the practice was a lot better, I will say. And that's mainly because of the tone. I didn't have the same amp. I really should have bought the amp as well. More crap to carry around, but I really should have bought the amp as well. But I didn't. And I think I suffered as a result because I was using, and it's not that their amp wasn't good, but it wasn't prepared for the overdrive and all that kind of stuff. So I felt like my playing was a little bit limp. I had Oleg on one of these little cameras, right? Filming, that's what all of this sort of stuff is. I don't know if you can see it. Let me turn the brightness up. Oh, there you are. Do you see how it looks kind of like an old live video? It doesn't look like it was filmed in 2024, right? I love this little camera, and every every time I talk about this camera, my parents are now like, we got you that camera when you were like 10 years old, and back then you didn't want it. I was like, so where are you now? Like, correct. I'm gonna film the. Oh, I haven't got a card. Whatever. Oh well, don't worry about it. I love this thing anyway. It's so good. I can make a whole movie with this, and I might one day because it's so much fun. The best thing is the optical zoom. It's 37 times optical zoom. Don't listen to the 45 times on there. It's got 37 times optical zoom, or apparently a 2,000 times digital zoom, which I don't even know what that would look like. I haven't even tested that yet. I really should, but. Really great camera. I had Oleg filming the performance, and I told him get a lot of close-up stuff. Some of them I have zoomed in as well, so there's a lot of stuff that's really, really grainy. I'm thinking I'm gonna add some VHS sort of effects to it, and I'm gonna really spice up the look of this stuff to make it a bit more extreme and sort of darken the background and make it feel like it's possible that I could be playing with a band if you don't have the context. Because then, it's compression. So this is the opening scene. Maybe we'll have some opening credits, and then it cuts to this, and it's a aspect ratio change, right? Because this is the reality that he's actually playing in. So it's less than what you expect, right? And then cut back to it. This wasn't originally how I was going to do it, but I just think it looks really cool. What we were originally going to do is we were going to have a podcast clip playing, and I had the podcast clip all ready and figured out. My mate Will, his dad has a podcast where he interviews people for like the authors of books, and he interviews them about the book. And check it out. I'll put it in the description if I remember. And he did one with the author of some book about George Harrison. And I just thought that would be so thematic of one, because the guy was talking about how George Harrison was a really good guitar player and he never really got the respect that he deserved and all that kind of stuff. So I thought that's kind of interesting. And then second off, it was a podcast about the Beatles, and it was the sort of thing that Jonny Mozza would listen to. And it kind of felt like it would really work. But unfortunately, it didn't end up happening because the guy that hosts the open mic turned the sound of the backing track down before it could get to that part. And that's my fault, actually, because I put it way too far. I had too big of a gap. I actually had the gap much shorter, and I extended the gap, and I wish I hadn't done that. But what ended up happening instead was John Henry came down, and he used my guitar for his set, because he played afterwards. So I thought it'd be interesting to have that kind of dichotomy. No, not really dichotomy, but that as an awkward thing instead, because you've got the awkward setup and then him kind of rushing off the stage, which then cuts into this. So we cut into this, and I've been trying to, because this whole scene is 7 minutes long, and I've been trying to find the best, most interesting, like 2.5, 3 minutes out of it. I think I found it. So and it all plays out in this wide. This is how I want the film to work. A lot of stuff plays out in the wide, exactly like this, right? Without all the artificial compression. That's not part of the film. So don't worry about that. Yeah, okay, the compression's really... The hell happened there? Anyway, but you see how people walk past and you see how the cars go by? That's all naturalistic stuff. There is one guy, apparently, somewhere in the state, I haven't found him yet, who apparently is a bit of a dickhead, and he was like causing problems, and I was so into the role, I didn't quite notice. John Henry noticed, and Oleg, the guy behind the camera, noticed because he was behind the camera. I didn't notice because I was so encompassed in my role, and I actually thought I did a decent drunk. I haven't had a beer for coming up in 5 months now, but I did drink before then, so I do know what it's like to be drunk, and I kind of relied on that. And drinking non-alcoholic beer, it tastes exactly the same. Don't listen to what people say. It tastes exactly the same as normal beer. Obviously, when you're drinking beer and then you go straight to non-alcoholic beer, it's a bit odd at first. But if you don't drink for like a week and then you have a non-alcoholic beer, it will feel like a beer. So then you've got this sort of stuff, which is, I didn't actually script this. I love the little lights that flash on my headphones. These are my AirPods that I actually properly use for everything. They're brilliant. I really like them. They were like the cheapest, crappiest thing. I think They weren't even mine originally. I can't remember whose they were, but they got them from TK Maxx. I remember them getting them from TK Maxx for like £15, and I remember thinking like, oh god, TK Maxx, £15, they're gonna be crap, but they're not. And I use them when I go to the gym, and I put them on because they're good for the treadmill and stuff like that because you don't have the cable dangling down. Although I do kind of prefer the cable-y headphones because you can plug them into things. You can also, like, you don't have to worry about charging your headphones. I always thought that was a bit weird. I've got to charge my headphones now. And I'm sure they're very easy to lose. I haven't lost them yet, but I feel like they'd be very easy to lose if you're not careful with them. And then we actually started breaking one of my key rules. One of my rules was I wanted everything to be static, and we've already diverted from that, and I think for the better. Well, this wasn't a scene with other people. This was a scene of me on my own, so I think it kind of adds to... Because the whole point of this scene is that Jonny Mozza isn't particularly happy behind the scenes. Like, in the last scene, he's kind of moaning a lot, and John Henry's character, Leo Mickens, says something very important, which is, if you take that attitude, you will never be happy. And that's, I think, the most important line of dialogue in the entire film. If you take that attitude, you will never be happy. And I've made sure that's the first line of dialogue. So I kind of skipped the beginning of the scene just to jump straight into that, because I think that's the meat and potatoes of that whole scene. Also, it's just such a great scene. That's the other way, it's the other way. Yeah, I know. I love things playing out in the wide. I love the naturalistic dialogue. We feel like we're real friends. I mean, we are real friends, which makes it even better because we do have conversations about music. We don't get this heated about them because we tend to be in agreement about quite a lot. There's a part in this film, in this scene, where he recommends a little dwarf fella to me to listen to. I might cut it out, I might leave it in, depends on what people think. But that is someone that John Henry recommended to me, and I can't remember for the life of me what his name was. He's a little dwarf fella. He plays like a half-size guitar, and he's got these live videos. They're really nice live videos where he'll... they're quite long songs, but as John Henry says, they're melancholic dwarf ballads, which that kind of makes it sound like it's like Lord of the Rings dwarves. It's not. It's more like a Nick Drake or Elliott Smith kind of thing. Is it Elliott Smith? I think it is. Anyway, it's that kind of thing, and I can't remember for the life of me who that guy is. And John doesn't really remember recommending him to me either. I think it might actually be a woman, and maybe it is. I don't know. If you do know who this little dwarf fella is that does the music, it's really nice music. I'd like to hear it again. Try and guess who it is in the comments because I want to know. Yeah, we did this stuff outside the Cross Lancers, and around this time, just before, as I was setting this up and getting the lav mics ready, I was starting to get a real fucking headache. My cheekbones were really hurting, and my head was starting to pulsate, and I wasn't really sure why that was happening. I'm looking back and I'm thinking maybe it's I didn't eat enough. All I had was 2 slices of toast with salmon, some yogurt, and I think I had some cereal for breakfast. And that's considering I went to the gym and I did 20 minutes on the treadmill, and I did like a load of what's that machine? I don't know what that machine's called. And then I did dumbbells, and then I did that machine as well. What I do when I go to the gym, I find albums and I listen to an album, and I work out for the length of the album, and then the album finishes and I go back to the changing room. I don't know anything about what these machines are called. I'm not like a gym guy. I don't actually care about you got your leg day and your quad day and all that. I'd rather just go and enjoy lifting some stuff, enjoy having a bit of a run, maybe have a bit of a swim, go in the sauna. I like going in the sauna because sometimes there'll be people in there having a conversation. You can sort of join in the conversation. It's kind of a communal area. And that, if you watch my video about London having community, that's another place where you can find community, is in your gym. Not necessarily on the gym floor where a lot of people want to just have their headphones in. I just want to have my headphones in. I want to just get on with my workout. But in the sauna, in the steam room, in the spa, if you've try and find a gym that has those things available, because it will really improve. That's the bit I look forward to at the gym, is the bit where I get to go to the sauna or the steam room. I like to go to the steam room first and then go for a swim and then come out and go into the sauna afterwards. That's so good because I don't know, the steam room kind of opens up your pores or something like that, and then you get in the swimming pool and it feels brilliant. But anyway, with regards to the filming, I think everything went so perfectly that I cannot believe it's exactly my vision. And I know it doesn't look like, I'm not trying to make the greatest movie ever. I'm not trying to create, the next Kubrick or Hitchcock bloody masterpiece. I'm not trying to, take from particular directors or turn my idea, my vision into something else. I'm simply going with the flow and developing the film as it kind of goes along, rather than planning everything out in advance and then having to work around things. Because I said it to John and Oleg yesterday. I said, this film is about bringing the fun back into filmmaking, because I've made a few films, and as they started to get bigger and bigger, and I started to have larger crews and larger sets and more professional everything, the fun started to get stripped out of it, It really did. And I started to wonder, why am I even doing this? And I didn't make a film for about 2 years, and I completely shifted gears to music, and I made about 10, 15, 20 albums, something like that. Not that that's 20 albums of great material, but I just made albums just to make them, like, as a way of learning music. Like, the first sort of 10 albums are literally my own music school. And then this film is also related to music, and it's about my relationship with music in a way. And it's also a chance to combine my music career with my film career. And I really wanted to combine those two things. And I am using my real music. This is like the songs that he's playing here. Let me go back. Hang on, I can do it. Wait, I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. Okay, hang on. These aren't my real songs. It's somebody who really loves him, I say, am I saying. Yeah, I've actually edited it there so that it's meant to go into another verse and then a chorus and then a breakdown and then the solo, but I've just had to go straight into the solo. Because you're not there to listen to the entire song. It's like a 6-minute song. It's actually a 10-minute song. I cut out the second part. I like my prog rock kind of stuff. I like that kind of thing where there's multiple parts. If you've seen some of my music videos that are on this Jonny Mozza channel, you see that I like my long stuff. And a lot of my inspirations are like Camel is one of my biggest inspirations. Pink Floyd, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, Neu, early Kraftwerk. I do like later Kraftwerk as well, but I'm not really in love with it the same way. But like when they got really into their synthesizers and stuff, it's personally not for me. I prefer the earlier stuff that they've completely disowned, and I wish they wouldn't disown it. It's good stuff. It's really good stuff. Rook, I don't know how you pronounce it, but Rook Zuck, that's a great one. I fully recommend it. There's one that's like a doom metal-y one, or like something like that. It's like 1969. It was one of the first metals, like around the time Black Sabbath was beginning. It's along the same vein as that, which you wouldn't expect Kraftwerk to do. Yeah, this whole film is about my relationship with music and about understanding my own worldview better. That's kind of why I do these videos as well. It's so that I can explain my thought process, and in doing so, I understand what my thought process is. And it makes things so much more interesting personally. I really enjoy doing things that way. Because I used to sterilize things so much and think that everything had to be absolutely perfect. But I'm not like the most talented guy around. I can't make something that's perfect. So why not embrace the flaws? Why not embrace the kind of amateur qualities of things and make something that's got a personality to it? Like at the very least, I would rather make a unique film than a good film that hasn't got personality. I'd rather make The Room than make When Harry Met Sally, is basically what I'm trying to say. I've not seen When Harry Met Sally, so sorry if I've slagged it off and you really like it. I don't know if it's actually a really good film. It's just a film I picked. Yeah, that's kind of my approach to things. And going forwards with the next day of filming, it's probably going to be the Darren stuff next, which is directly continuing on from what's happened here. This would be the very next scene. So there's a bit on the bus, which is going to be very easy. That's just going to be me and one other person who sits. It'd be quite late at night, so we'll sit a couple seats in front of me and just film me. And then I get off the bus, I meet Darren, and Darren's like a guy who's he's got a job, he's getting a promotion, he's getting married next year, and he's moving away so that he can get a bigger house in a nicer area to raise his children, that kind of thing. And it's a way of showing that what Jonny Mozza could have done if he hadn't been so caught up in himself and his his music and his art over his sustainability, which I was just talking to a guy called Demetrios who's going to play one of the Universal Credit agents, and he was saying very much the same sort of thing. Like, there's a lot of people out there that really relate to that kind of thing, you know, that are on Universal Credit, but they're struggling artists and they're kind of a bit hopeless and sort of going through life in this sort of way, waiting for something to happen. And that's kind of what Jonny Mozza is. He's someone that's like going through life the wrong sort of way, and when he gets reminded of how he could have done it, that's a reminder that he's not a like a quote real person compared to, say, Darren, who is a quote real person. And I like to show that kind of person, that character, because it's something that I've seen discussed a bit, but it's also something that is a real not necessarily problem, but issue that's worth discussing on a film. So it's a theme that it surrounds the film in a very nice way. And it's also a theme that's quite easily accessible, and it's also that this is a story that I can kind of take in different directions as the film goes, because I now know the film better, having done this, than I did the day before yesterday when I hadn't filmed any of this. This film has really begun now. It's about 5 minutes long at the moment, but each day I film, it's going to get longer and longer and longer, and eventually it'll get to 90 minutes, and then all I need to do then is just edit it together, and that should be it done. And I'm really, really excited to show it to you in its final form. It's going to be good. I'm gonna go for now, and thank you so much for watching this. Jonny Mozza's Lessons in Confidence should be coming out some point soonish. When I finish filming it, I'm going to keep you up to date with everything that's going on this channel, and you can also, you know, listen to some of the music that I put out, and you can just. This is just a channel for whatever, really. You know, it's a community, and it's building a community as well. I'd like to see your films and your projects and those kind of things. I'd like this to be. While this channel is so small, it doesn't need to be a parasocial relationship. It can be a real relationship between the creator and the audience. It's when, you know, you start to get, you know, thousands and thousands of subscribers and thousands of comments on your videos, you can't make that commitment. And I do try to respond to a lot of people, as many people as I can. And I'm going to keep trying to do that. And eventually it's going to run away from me, and it will end up taking up too much time to actually respond to everyone. And when that happens, I'll just respond to bits here and there. I'll always stay active. You know, I always read the comments, and I always wonder why bigger channels don't, you know, respond to as many comments. They'll always like heart react that one that their friend does, or the person that's in the video, and it just feels so corporate. You know, when the whole point of YouTube is to broadcast yourself, and that's what I'm trying to do. Thank you very much for watching, and take care. Bye-bye. Bye. Hey up everybody, my name's Joshua Morrison, director of Jonny Mozza's Lessons in Confidence, and today very happy to say that day 2 of filming is complete, and I would like to show you some of what we did and talk a little bit about the day, what went right, what went wrong, what we can learn from, etc, etc. So this was an indoor filming day, so we were filming at my friend Oscar's house, and we had a few scenes set out to do. We had this morning-y kind of scene that we needed to get done, then we had a rehearsal scene with Lee Westwick, then we had 2 night scenes, and that was going to wrap everything up. So I said to everyone, let's get there for 1, okay? Lee comes to my house, picks me up in the car, and then we start heading over to the location, which we gave ourselves enough time to actually get there. However, all of our safety net time was eaten up by one woman driving some small Hyundai, like a yellow Hyundai '04 plate, I think it was. And she held up an entire residential road. About 20 cars were waiting on this person to... They tried to constantly reverse, but somehow I don't think they knew quite how to reverse. So I can't drive, right? But I think I could have done a better job doing this than her. Honestly, it was like this... And there's all this sort of smoke coming out of the exhaust. And I was eating my knuckles, just honestly so frustrated. Just I wanted to get out of the car and just push that car out of the way, but there wasn't any space to push it into. And eventually the car ends up getting out of the way, and guy stops in a big white van. He's like, "Who passed her test for her then? Bloody joke!" And we go, "Yeah." And yeah, so we ended up getting there a bit later than we actually anticipated. We ended up getting there half an hour late, partly in thanks to that, partly in thanks to another traffic jam that was on the A40. Both of which, so we had high traffic than expected, plus this one incident which completely ruined us. So and I gave myself 2 hours of to get somewhere that I knew we could get to on what Google Maps said. Google Maps said we could get there in 34 minutes. And it took us over 2 hours to get there. So yeah, always be conservative with how long you think something is going to take. If you think it's going to take an hour, set aside 2.5 hours for it, just in case, because it's better to have too much time than not enough. Bollocks. There we are. So I'm going to show you a bit of what we did. Let me find it. So this was all the stuff that we shot at my friend Oscar's house. Thank you so much, Oscar, for allowing us to use our residence, because it really made everything really come together. It's such a beautiful location. Me and him and another friend, Toby, who's playing the role of Izzy Insane in the film, we'd go there and we'd kind of have a jam, and we'd kind of try and figure out stuff for a band we wanted to start. And not much ended up coming of that, but the whole time I was there, I was looking around, I just felt like this is such like a 90s kind of feeling place. I feel like I'm somewhere in the past right now, and I love it, and I really want to convey it on screen. And Jonny Mozza just felt like the perfect fit for it. In fact, one of the first shots that I envisioned of this entire film is one that we got today, and I will show you that shot. It's the shot from the rehearsal scene. So me, Jonny Mozza, Oscar, who plays the character of Oliver, who's like an old friend, close, almost brotherly kind of character to Jonny Mozza. And then there is Lee Westwick's character, Mickey Doherty, who comes along, who's a keyboardist for our rehearsal. So I'll show you that first, because that's some of the last stuff, isn't it? Right, so here's what we did. Let me just, yep. All right, so there's a little bit of a chase sequence here. That's something we're filming on Monday. So I'll update you again once that's complete. So here we've got Oscar, Lee and me, and we're all going into the house to do a rehearsal. I've managed to get these people together for the band, and now I need to try and keep them together. So let me turn the volume up actually. How do I turn the volume up? Hang on. Right, yeah. So this is the first shot I envisioned for the entire film. And I'm so happy with how this came out. I love this on the sides, kind of almost turning it into this 4:3 kind of looking angle. I knew from the moment that I began making this film that I wanted to get this shot. Every time I would ever go to Oscar's house, I would see this shot, and I just thought it needs to be conveyed. And because it was a band contest, I thought what better to have than the three of us jamming out trying to make some music. And we actually set out with the goal of making something that sounded purposefully terrible. And to be honest, I feel like what came out of it was quite decent in a very avant-garde sort of way. The first take that we did that was before this is actually pretty good. It's weirdly good. even that, I'm purposefully going out of the. We played in C major, right? Because that way Lee could just hit just the white notes of the keyboard. Lee's not like a super experienced keyboardist or anything like that. And like I'm not a super experienced guitar guy, and Oscar's not a super experienced bassist. So I figure all of these three elements could come together to show a band that's still in its infancy. Which, but I didn't want to make the music just sound like crap. I just wanted the music to sound real. Like whatever we could do, we're trying our best, and this is the result of us trying. This one, I'm semi putting some little fucky like purposefully off kilter kind of notes in there, like not really thinking about the scale, not really thinking about anything, kind of doing it a bit chromatic, just so that you get some of these awkward notes in between that makes you feel a bit ooh. So this scene I didn't script out whatsoever, and I didn't really want to script it out because the point of this I knew was that the scene would unfold in the way that it unfolds, and that's just the way that it would be. There's three basic beats. The first beat is this rehearsal. The second beat is me showing the rest of them this music video.
Me and Oliver when we did this shit. I think you can sing. I can't, but I don't know 4 or 5, 6
Okay.
years ago.
I've kind of messed up the editing of this bit, but I need to go back and do it anyway. So yeah, the first beat is the jam. The second beat is me showing them a music video, which is a real music video for a song that I did a long time ago that I do actually want to record properly and with a real vocalist and not me screeching over it. So yeah, then Lee tells me that I can't sing, and Oscar Oliver agrees with him, and I kind of storm off. The first time I did it, I stormed off way too angrily. So in the second, third takes, I tried to make it go like a bit softer. So I sort of go, I'm going for a fucking pint. So now I foresee like a later scene maybe where I'm in the pub and Oscar and Lee's character have to kind of come up to me, and maybe Lee's character leaves the band and Oscar's kind of there to pick up the pieces kind of thing, because Oscar's character of Oliver is someone that you know, you've got that friend that is just like there for life, you know, that one friend that like you'll come and go, but you're always joined at the hip in that way. That's what Oscar's character is. And so far, I feel like everything we've shot, I feel like Oscar is a bit of a grumpy bastard throughout the whole thing because of what he has to do in these certain bits. Like there's like he's constantly got to go to work and come back from work and stuff like that. So I'll show you all that in a sec. So yeah, we did all this. Do you ever go to the Duke of York?
Yeah, it's quite nice there.
So I like this shot, and I kind of like the idea of maybe experimenting with different aspect ratios across the film. Like having 16:9 as the widest, and then experimenting by doing a bit of that, maybe a bit of that, a bit of 1:1 like that, maybe even some vertical for a second. That kind of thing, rather than experimenting that way in the typical, like, you know, Michael Bay, Transformers, Christopher Nolan, Dunkirk kind of way. So we could experiment with aspect ratio going this way, which, I mean, we've already done there's a bit of 4:3 stuff, like right at the beginning, which we did on day one. And there's going to be more of that kind of thing as we use more of the Digicam, which I don't have on me at the moment, but it's such a beautiful little piece of equipment. You can get these really cool little zoom-ins just with this digital zoom type thing. But I mean, it's an optical zoom, but you control it digitally, so it's very, very smooth. It's so much fun to use. This scene, I like having scenes play out in one continuous shot for this film. I want as many scenes as possible to just require one shot. Now, this, I figure, what's important here is that my character is hungover. I've just woke up in a mid-daze. I'm like, oh, my head. And Oscar, you can kind of see, is like, he's busying himself up. He's packing stuff. He's getting ready for work. Right, so there's that conflict there. And he's still cool with me, and he gives me a coffee in this scene, and blah, blah, blah. So we're still getting on, but you can sense that Oscar is probably kind of annoyed at my character. Oscar's character is probably a bit annoyed at my character, and that's going to turn up in terms of the heat going further on in the film. Then we did this sequence, which I loved doing so much. Now, my phone, this is a real story, not really a story, but my phone is a pain in the ass to charge. If I want to charge it, I have to put the cable down sort of like that, and then I have to put something on top of the cable so that the cable stays in the phone and actually charges the phone. Otherwise, it will just immediately come out again and uncharge because it's so loose. There's not like that lock-in mechanism in it anymore. I think I must have broken that or something, so I have to keep like a book or like something heavy on top of the cable just to actually keep it charging, and then I have to really like that force my way in like that. And I thought it would be so fun to combine that with you know, when you're in bed and like you've got to kind of get up to do something, but you don't really need to get up, so you try and not get up, so you're kind of leaning out, and by the end you're kind of like leaning like this, like that. That's kind of what we did with this sequence. So I need to get my phone charged. I'm going to take my phone out in a second, and you can see that I'm in a bit of a wreck. This is your first introduction to the character's home life. His phone is dead, he needs to charge it. What's he going to do? So he needs to get up, he needs to get all the way over here, which I need to put in an in shot of that actually, I think. So yeah, you got this fun sequence of me trying to charge the phone, and I think this is a good moment for like that kind of slapsticky kind of comedy. Also, this is kind of relatable. This has happened to me in real life. Yesterday, I bought like a tub of like Ben and Jerry's style, like the Lidl version of the Ben and Jerry's ice cream, right? And I had it upstairs, and I was, you know, eating it, and I had maybe half of it, right? And so I left it to the side, and I was doing the editing for this. I was editing this. So I finished off the edit. Maybe an hour passes in that time. I think, okay, I'm going to take the ice cream downstairs. So as I'm going downstairs, I'm kind of drinking bits of the remaining ice cream. And I drink it, and it right goes up my nose like that. And I just looked in the mirror. I saved it to look in the mirror. And I realized that's such a perfect physical bit of intrigue right there. That's something that could happen in real life to Jonny Mozza. So I want to do a scene where he's drinking some ice cream, and that ends up happening. He gets on his nose, and maybe it combines with him like being out in public or something like that. Maybe like he has to talk to Malcolm, the venue manager, or something like that, while he's got this ice cream, almost like Hitler moustache on his face. So yeah, we did this, right? So I told Hadid, who was filming it, I want you to shake the camera when it shows this shot. Purposefully shake the camera, because it shows like the struggle. And it's almost like, I don't know, from this point of view, it's almost like he's achieved out orgasm or something like that. It's so satisfying seeing him actually finish this. I hope you can actually see all of this. I just realised maybe I need to have it more up like this. So yeah, we did all this. We went, oh yeah, shush, because I don't need to listen to me grunt and groan. So what we did is we started at 1:30. We filmed all the morning stuff until about 5:30 with the rehearsal scene. So that's this scene, the scene that I just showed you, and then the rehearsal scene which I showed you first, all of which was done in under 4 hours, which I think makes pretty good time. That's also including all the setting up, all the taking everything out of the bags, unloading it from the car, putting it in the house, and then putting up all the lights, setting up everything like that, blah, 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 right? Getting in costume and sorting out the lav mics and all that prep that you need to do right beforehand, right? I made sure to do that before Hadid got there. I wanted to have everything ready to go when Hadid came. So all we needed to do was have a quick like introduction. Hey Hadid, here's Oscar, here's Lee. Hey Hadid, I'm Lee, or I'm Oscar. How you doing? Yeah. Do you want a drink or something? Yeah, I'll have some water. All right. And then you can just go, right, should we get into it? Hell yeah, let's do it. Then you do like 4 hours of work, you have a break. And we decided to go for a walk down to the local co-op, where I was going to get some food for everyone. So I thought there's this deal that said 2 pizzas, a side, and a drink for £10. And I was like, that's a good deal for my crew. So I thought, right, I'll get that. So I'm a bit confused by the deal. So I asked the guy that works there, can you so what drink can I get? And he picks up this 4-pack of Pepsi Max and he goes, this. Okay, thanks. So I take the 4-pack of Pepsi Max, 2 pizzas on the side, and we go to the checkout. After we're in the queue, we get there and get scanned through. This is meant to be £10. He tries to charge me £22. And I'm like, what? He goes, oh yeah, no, wait, hang on. And I sort of go, well, it says on the sign that there's a deal. You can get all this stuff for £10, and you kind of go, all right. He points to his coworker. Can you go check? And she goes to check. She's gone for like 5 minutes, right? And in that time, I have a peek round the corner, and I see her just like this, like trying to figure out the deal. And because apparently this deal is so complicated, even the staff are having trouble trying to figure it out. So she comes over, she's like, yeah. She's also brought back a pack of sausage rolls, which I think she's doing to like bypass the scanning system or something like that. Maybe this is replacing the side that we wanted. I feel like the issue was the side was wrong, but like no one knew what the issue was. So after about 10 minutes of other customers coming in and all this stuff, they eventually call the manager. The manager comes down after 5 minutes, and he gets informed of what the situation is. Right, these guys are trying to pay first thing, and for some reason it's not coming up properly. So he then goes to check the aisle, and I see him down there like this, trying to figure out what the deal is. And after 5 minutes, he comes back and he goes, yeah. And then you've got the four of them, 4 people working at this cup, all stood around the monitor like this. Okay. And then they kept doing that, right? And we're standing there. I'm getting very impatient. I'm a very patient person. That I started sort of going. We are kind of in a hurry. We need to go because we're in the middle of filming and it's kind of eating into our time. And like I'd be sort of saying to us, "This is fucking ridiculous." Like, yeah, I know. It's like and we're having that little bond where it's like, yeah, fuck these people, fuck this, like, what's going on here? This is ridiculous, kind of thing, that you do when you're inconvenienced in this sort of way. 25 minutes later, after all of that, 25 minutes has gone, and finally, I'm able to pay for my thing, pay my £10, and walk off with it. And that ate up so much of the time that I made the executive call to cut the last scene that we were going to do for the day and just do that another day. Oscar was cool with the idea of me filming there again, so we decided that we were just going to do that scene another day because that's an important scene. I'm not going to tell you what's in the scene, spoilerific, but it's an important scene that I did not want to rush, and I could not rush it because. And the last thing I want to be doing on this film is rushing things, because when you rush, I've just noticed that the tripod is there. Can you see it? I've just noticed that. Ah, shit. We are planning on redoing this shot anyway, because Oscar told me. I think Oscar actually told me that was there. He also told me that the bike was there and the bike shouldn't be there anymore, which is yeah, that's a continuity error. So we might redo that. It's just a one shot, so that's fine. It's because we set everything up for the next scene, and then we just remembered that we needed to get this one very quick thing, so we just did that very quickly. And then yeah, after this he turns the phone on, realises he's got a Universal Credit appointment, and he has to rush out the door. Then finally, this was the final scene we did of the day. And this is one lesson I would like to put onto you, is that I like doing half days now, because when you start to have a break, it becomes quite hard to get back into the flow state. If you come out the flow state and start chatting and bantering and like having a bit of fun, having a break and stuff, having some food and a drink or whatever, it becomes a bit harder to actually get back into the flow state. So this is going to be a shot I think I'm going to 4-3 up, because I really like it. It's similar-ish to the first shot I showed, to one of the first shots I showed you. I've come in, I'm a little bit drunk, and turning the TV on, and then Oscar's character gets in, and he's knackered and he wants to go to bed. So it's that kind of thing. And that's basically everything that we filmed today. Yeah, we've gotten everything done, apart from that one scene, and I'm glad that we didn't actually do that scene, because now it means that I can put serious time and effort into making sure that scene is perfect. So we're planning on doing that on Monday the 4th of November, pending availabilities. Then in the meanwhile, next week we've got 3 days that are all quite small, but they lead up to big things. So first, tomorrow we've got the universal credit scene, which I showed you where it's going to go on this. Demetrius and Hadid are coming down to Hanwell Library, and we're going to film everything there. They said that I could film there for £15 an hour, so we're going to do 3 hours there, £45. I was really struggling to find an office location, so I wanted ideally to get one for free, but it's hard to get that kind of location, so I'm happy to pay that. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the other universal credit scenes. I'm going to have them probably in a different looking office. Maybe I have it so that he gets pushed onto another job centre or something like that. I also think I might include a subplot of Jonny Mozza trying to quit smoking, because I bought a pack of straights for Jonny Mozza to smoke, and I had to smoke about 10 of them, and I'm not a heavy smoker. I don't like smoking straights. They really fuck my lungs up, and don't smoke. Especially just for the sake of a film. I mean, it looks really cool, and I'm so glad that I actually did it for that. But I was very tired yesterday, and kind of struggled to get my 2 videos done yesterday. And yeah, I was just sort of lethargic, and my lung hurt slightly, and my throat hurt, and yeah, I don't smoke much. I have like, what I do, I might have a roll up if I'm going to do like a video, and then I might have a roll up at the end of the night, and that's it. And they're quite small roll ups, and I tend to use American Spirit, which is like the lightest tobacco anyway. So yeah, I'm going to include a subplot of him trying to quit smoking, which could then come back around if he relapses on cigarettes at the end of the film. It also means that I don't have to smoke for the rest of the film. So yeah, that's going to be good. And I think that's going to be about everything. Yeah, I hope that you're doing well. Big lesson for if you're starting to do your first shoot. Everyone is much happier to finish early than finish late. So don't worry about saying to someone, oh yeah, we're going to finish at 11. Because you're thinking, oh God, if we finish at 11, that's quite late for them. So you say 10, you try and rush it, and then you end up leaving at 11 anyway. That person is now kind of more irritated than if you had said, yeah, we're going to finish at 12, and then you finish at 11. It's better to be conservative with the times and expect everything to take longer than it actually will take, which I was, and I ate up until that time, and we had to cut a scene anyway. So this is why I want to do more small 4 or 5 hour shoots rather than this, which was more of like a 9-hour shoot. Don't particularly like doing them too much, but I'm glad that we got everyone together. Hadid and Oscar and Toby and Lee, everyone got to mingle and intermix and have fun conversations. We had a bit of a jam together, and it was a really fun time. And I'm so glad that we did it, and I'm so glad to have everyone on board for this film, and I'm so thankful to everyone, and so thankful to you for watching these videos, and the views and the watch time and all that is really motivating me to actually get so much done and do so much, because I feel like I've got something to do it for, and I'm really happy to see what's going to happen with that. So I'm really excited to show you what's going to be next on day 3, which I will be updating you on sooner rather than later. I'll probably be releasing that video on Tuesday, or possibly even tomorrow. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a brilliant rest of the day. Hope everything goes well for you, and I hope that your film set goes smoothly, and I hope nothing goes wrong. And please remember to be conservative with your times. Okay, do not try and pack so much stuff in, because all you will do is tire your crew out, and the fuel of a shoot is the morale. So that's a story for another day. That's a topic for another video. And yeah, I'm going to head off. Thank you again for watching this. Have a great rest of the day. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. Hey up, everybody. My name is Joshua Morrison, director of Jonny Mozza's Lessons in Confidence, and today I'm proud to announce that we have completed day 3 of however many days it takes. And we're just going to keep on going and going and going. Got day 4 happening very soon, then day 5 is happening very soon, and then day 6 is happening next week. And then once day 6 has happened, I don't have anything planned at this exact moment for after that. However, I have a couple ideas on what I want to get done. So I get the sense that next week, bar that one day, there's not going to be too many days of filming. There might be one like on the Saturday or the Sunday, but it's not going to be like 4 days of filming like there is this week. I'd like to show you some footage, but it's processing the video, so it won't let me download it. It won't let me do anything with it. It just sits there. So I uploaded it for the sake of making this video. Normally I upload it on the computer and then I download it here, but it's just not letting me. So I'll tell you a bit about what we actually did. We did 1 p.m. through 2:30 p.m. So it was way shorter than I actually anticipated. I gave myself 1 through 4 p.m. to get this done. We were at this library, Hanwell Library, £15 an hour to use their side room, and they were wonderful hosts. Thank you so much to the Hanwell Library team and community library for letting us film there. It was an amazing little place, and I cannot think of anywhere better to have filmed this kind of thing, because it gives it such a look that fits what we were going for, and it's so perfect. I'm so happy that we actually filmed there. And yeah, it was only a one setup thing, and for this I knew I wanted to have multicam, so we had 3 cameras. We had the camera that you're watching this on, that was getting the shot of Demetrios, who plays one of the Universal Credit agents. Then there was my Canon 6D, which was getting the shot of me, and then we had this little Fuji Digicam that I've talked about before, getting these sort of in-betweeny kind of shots. And I really like that kind of look. It just feels so amazing to have that kind of slow digital zoom and this kind of mix. Like, it's not like it's trying to convince you that this is the same quality as the other 2 shots. That it's very clearly not. But it's doing something a bit different, and I think it works with the form. And for this film, I think I've realised that I'd like to have like a bit of playing around with aspect ratio, so I've started messing around with that. I mean, the intro was already in 4:3, and then a lot of like the cross lancer scene was in 16:9. So now I've started going through and I'm making bits like in between 16:9 and 4:3. There might even be some bits that are like 1:1, and I'm thinking maybe even some bits are like vertical, but that's way down the line. I'll figure that kind of thing out. Yeah, the scene in particular I think looks a bit better with like black bars slightly on the side. It was quite. This is why I don't like doing multicam as much, as it's quite hard to get both shots without getting the other camera in the frame. So it kind of limits you in what you can do. So I was fine with taking that less control over the exact setups. But the payoff is that we get to have continuity-rich editing between the various shots, so that we can get coverage of Demetrios, the UC agent, and myself, and you can blend these things in a really fun and interesting way. And can I show you it? No, I cannot. So hopefully by the end of this video it finishes processing. I kind of doubt it, to be honest. Really, I should stop showing you this stuff. It's a bit spoilerific, this, isn't it? I mean, and as they go on, it's going to get into more spoilery territory. So maybe I should stop showing you what's actually on these screens. Yeah, there's not actually too much to really update you on. The main lesson I want you to take away from this is that small crews are amazing, because it was 3 people. And I cannot have asked for 3 better people to have been part of this project. Yeah, like Demetrios was amazing, and then Heather on the on this little digicam, just and we all got on so well. So it was really easy to kind of make everything kind of work and blend together. It was also quite good for the acting, this chemistry, because Demetrios and Heather are both like, a generation older than myself. We're a different generation. So compared to the other shoots that we've been doing, where I've been doing it pretty much exclusively with people of like my age bracket, being the youngest one there by like a generation really helped me get into my role of, because Jonny Mozza has to be quite mousy and quite insulated and quite not confident in this scene. So there's a lot of like like this kind of thing, and like that, and like looking around while Demetrius sort of talking, stuff like that. So yeah, it kind of helped me to get into that sort of flow state anyway, and yeah, it was great fun. I like these very short shoots. We left the house at about 12:30, and we were back at about I want to say about 3. So what's that? 2.5 hours door to door. Not counting, that's door to door. That's going to the location, setting up, doing the scene, packing down, paying the £22.50 that they charged me for this place, because we ended up only using it for an hour and a half. I'd originally thought about using it for 3 hours, and there was nothing else to film. So we got everything we needed to get. Can I show you what we filmed? No, I cannot. Yeah, so expect things to take longer than they might do. You know, be very conservative with the amount of time that everything takes, and emphasize a small crew, because you can get stuff done so much faster as a small crew compared to if you're a unit of 8, 9, 10, 11 plus people. It gets much harder the more people you stack on, it seems counterintuitive from the point of view of someone who's like putting together their film. They think, I need a gaffer to sort out this stuff, I need a lighting guy to sort out this stuff, I need a runner to do this, I need a sound guy to do the sound, I need a DOP to do the camera work, I need me to direct the actors, I need the actors. You know, you don't need all these roles to be filled, because if you work around these issues, then you can easily make it something that you can just do yourself quickly. Like, I'm my own lighting guy, there's one light that's over there, and you got natural light around here. I'm my own sound guy, there we are. You know, I know it's not like the best audio in the world or anything, like it's not you know, top tier podcast quality or anything, especially in the acoustics in this room. The acoustics in this room are not great, but I think, you know, and I'm my own DOP because that's just sitting there. I think you can do a lot of it yourself, and you should do as much of it as you can on your own, and then get people in when you absolutely need them, because if you can work in a small crew, you can get so much more done compared to if you procrastinate in this idea that you need to have everything already sorted out, and then you go and you find everybody, and then you're overwhelmed by the amount of questions that get thrown your way. Because if you're directing a set of 15 people, expect to be asked 5 questions a minute, and you have to give an answer to all of them, and you need to come up with that answer now, you know. Oh, what do you want me to do for this scene? There you are, you do that. What are we going to do about this? Okay, you're going to sort that out. Should I have this light over here? Yes. You know, all this kind of stuff. People get frustrated on large sets, and it's harder to actually focus on that frustration and actually, like, you know, massage out that frustration if you're trying to deal with so many other people, which can allow morale to lower, and it can allow frustrations with you and the other core team to fester, and then possibly even spread between you know, members of the crew. You know, not that people are unprofessional, but you can get the vibe off of someone else. If you can sense that someone else is like really like pissed off, that impacts your own morale, and then if that puts you down a little bit, someone can see that in you, and so on and so on. It's a chain reaction, and the last thing you want is a set where everyone is tired and groggy and doesn't really want to do the work, and they just want to all go home. You want to avoid that at all costs, and that's what I'm trying to do with this film. Trying to emphasize small days, but having a lot of them, and emphasizing small crews, but having a lot of people that I can pull from. You know, I'm working with different people every single day, and I think that's where the magic of this is actually coming in. I think it's so much more beneficial to. Yes, I can finally show it to you. Here we are. Here we are. So. This is what we did. Where is it? Now, I haven't like fully put anything together. I've kind of just taken one take. I've only really taken one take and just played with it. And I haven't even done a brilliant job of the edit, or like, I've done no sound mixing or anything. So I know it doesn't look like tip-top shape at the present, but I love having this kind of really low quality thing with the little zooms, and then you kind of combine with this slightly higher quality here.
I told you so many times that every application you make, you need to log it in the system.
I really like this kind of shot. I love "we" in the background there from Halloween, so you can tell it's a Halloweeny thing. We did the first shot, and then Heather pointed out, you know, do you want to have the kitchen in the background? And I kind of thought, well, yeah, it's a government building, and you know, I've seen places where the kitchen is just kind of there in the background, and you just kind of avoid it. And you know, I went up to the kitchen. I was just sort of like flipped the kettle on and made myself a cup of tea, and so tried to make myself a cup of tea, but like someone came over, was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm just making some tea myself." She went, "Yeah, this is for staff." So, well, put it out the fucking way then, why don't you? You know. But yeah, we got this shot, and then we got. I personally, I don't know. Looking at the shot, maybe I've done something wrong with the color, or something, or maybe because it's combining with the Digicam footage. Look, you see here, you got Demetrius, right? And then you go here. I don't know, Demetrius looks like way too wide. Like somehow he's like expanded like that, like a hamster. So I think I might have to compress this down slightly and just squeeze it in just a tiny bit. Not much, but just a little bit. I think because at the moment it feels a bit stilted. I like this shot a lot more, which is funny because this shot is actually done with the shitter camera. And again, here, right here, is the lav mic. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. Don't worry so much about the lav mics being in your shot, because if someone gets so frustrated with the lav mics that they turn your film off, they weren't enjoying your film. It's okay. It's okay to have lav mics in there. It's not, you know, you're building the immersion through the characters and the acting and the dialogue and, you know, the general set design and all that kind of stuff. But these little tiny issues now are becoming less and less important. Look at, you know, all the kind of skits that you see on YouTube where it'll be like, oh, what it's like at airport security, but it's just shot in someone's like hallway, you know. But you know it's meant to be an airport sort of area. You don't need to go and film this in an airport just to make the comedy land. So I think it's in that same way where the break in immersion, as long as it's, you know, consistent in itself, is fine. And I don't see a problem with having this, because I would so much rather have good quality audio than to try and hide these microphones and deal with like all of this. Personally, I don't think that that's gonna work. I don't think that's gonna be any good. And I don't think that I personally don't want to come back from a shoot and then listen to all the audio and find out, oh my God. There is one issue that did come out actually, is the Tascam that I've got. I really need to get a dongle for iPhones that connect the headphone jack to like the charging port, the lightning port to the headphone jack thing. Fuck Apple for getting rid of that bastarding fucking headphone jack, because it's made my life harder. Pulling this bastarding fucking Tascam around with me. This Tascam is a little, oh, it's so irritating. Because 3 of the 5 takes that we did for this, I only have my source of audio now. Because for some reason, it stops itself, like right at the beginning. So I've got these like 5-second clips of like Demetrius putting it in his pocket, and then it must be like, you know, inside the pocket as you're putting it in, it pushes past, I don't know, something, and it pushes like the stop button and just stops it. Which I know there is a hold button on there. But I don't know if that's maybe it. Maybe. But I just think no. Because it wouldn't have happened on some but not others, right? It's not like I had the hold on those ones but not on the others. Because he just had the thing the entire time. It's not like he ever took it off. So it does frustrate me, that Tascam, and this is why I'm preferring doing stuff with the phones. The phones are actually one of the best audio sources I think I've ever had. I'm really, really happy with them, and yeah, so I'm going to get the dongle for that and try and fix that up. Yeah, that's basically everything that I have to update you on. It's a shorter video, so it's going to be, because it's a shorter day, and yeah, that's everything. I'm really so excited for the rest of this week and the next set. By the end of I'd say like next Tuesday, I will have a video day 6 of filming is complete. So we're going to double what we got so far. And I'm so excited to do that. It's going to be so much fun. And this film is really coming together. Now the cut is 18 minutes long. So if you think about the average film, about 90 minutes, I'm about a fifth of the way there. So, you know, let's see what we got to do. Yeah. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. Love you all.